Your man. You wake up in the dark, not because the sun isn't out, but because your eyes go straight to your screen. Notifications, calendar reminders, unread messages, a podcast you saved for morning efficiency. Your heart's already racing, and you haven't even sat up yet. Somewhere deep in your chest, the familiar whisper returns. No time to waste. You skip breakfast. You open 5 tabs before brushing your teeth. You answer emails while walking to the kitchen. Phone angled just right to avoid eye contact with your reflection. Because reflections slow you down. Because every second counts. You're building something, remember? You've got goals, a vision board, a 5-year plan. You're not like them, the ones who relax. You're efficient, optimized, always 5 minutes ahead. But still, there's a weight behind your eyes you can't explain. A pressure in your jaw that never leaves. You don't remember the last time you breathed in and did nothing with it. You're productive, you're driven, you're on fire. But something inside you, something soft and human, is quietly burning out. And in that silence between tasks, just for a second, a new voice surfaces. What if this speed is the thing that's killing me? You didn't invent this mindset. It was planted. Back in school, they called it potential. You were praised for being busy, for staying late, for filling every hour. You were told that every minute not spent learning was a minute lost forever. You were 12. You didn't know what time management meant, but your planner was already full. Your parents called it discipline. Teachers called it excellence. Later, YouTubers called it hustle. You remember when it changed. Motivational edits flooded your feed. Clips of billionaires waking up at 4 a.m. Guys in Lamborghinis whispering, while you sleep, someone else is getting ahead. You believe them. TikTok said sleep was optional. Instagram posts said suffering was noble. Every reel, every short, every podcast repeated the same truth. If you're not building, you're decaying. And so, you built. You built side projects and routines. You started your first thing in high school. Maybe a YouTube channel, maybe dropshipping. Whatever it was, you weren't doing it for joy. You were doing it to stay ahead. You became the person who skipped breaks, who ate meals while editing videos, coding pages, reading summaries of books you'd never finish. You were proud of how much you could fit into a day, because efficiency was everything. The more optimized you became, the less human you felt. But that was the point, right? Humans waste time, machines don't. So you stopped watching shows that didn't teach something, stopped hanging out with people who didn't inspire you, started listening to business podcasts at 1.5x speed. You even tried silent walking, so you could think about your brand while exercising. You bought a standing desk, a productivity journal, 3 courses you'll never finish. You stopped letting yourself just be. You were scared to lose momentum, because momentum is identity now. If you rest, what are you? If you stop, do you disappear? So you kept going, kept chasing, kept stacking your hours like proof that you still matter. And now, it's 3 a.m. again. You're in pajamas, dark circles like ink under your eyes. In front of you, a glowing screen. Tabs open. A crypto course, a Shopify dashboard, a color-coded Notion board, and a DAO Discord server buzzing with opportunities. You sit there, blinking. You don't remember what day it is. But that voice returns, firm and subtle. No time to waste. And without question, you obey. You think it's just discipline, that you're simply more focused than others. But it's not focus anymore. It's obsession. You can't take a walk without a podcast in your ears. If the podcast isn't about growth, you feel like you're wasting time. You go to the gym, but not to feel your body. You go to optimize your biochemistry. Cold showers, dopamine detox, stacked routines with acronyms. Even your breaks are productivity theater. You meditate because it improves focus. You journal because it sharpens clarity. You read, but only nonfiction, only self-help, only something with ROI. You don't nap. You reboot your brain. And when you don't do these things, when you sit still, look out a window, eat a snack, close your eyes, a tiny voice starts whispering again. You're falling behind. Someone out there is catching up. So you grab your phone. You scroll through productivity reels, startup memes, Reddit threads on passive income. You tell yourself it's research. But really, you just don't know how to stop. Because stopping makes you feel worthless. Pauses feel like decay. Stillness feels like dying. You used to watch movies. Now you speedrun documentaries. You used to draw for fun. Now you build a personal brand. Even your hobbies feel monetized. Even your dreams feel scheduled. And what's worse? You don't even notice it anymore. You don't question it. Because the world rewards you for this. They call you driven. They call you impressive. They repost your day-in-the-life TikToks like you've made it. But inside, you know. You know that every win feels empty. That each milestone just unlocks another one. Another goal, another list, another day where you're not allowed to breathe. And somewhere along the way, you forgot how to live. Not just exist, not just perform, but live. You look around and realize something terrifying. You've built a life where there is no finish line. Because no matter how fast you run, your brain keeps yelling, faster, smarter, don't stop now. But maybe that's the trap. Maybe you don't need more speed. Maybe what you need is the thing you've been avoiding the most. Stillness. You kept going because stopping meant failure. You drank caffeine like it was water. You worked through headaches, through yawns, through weekends. You told yourself it was temporary. That one day you'd rest. One day you'd take a trip. One day you'd feel free. But that day never came. Because the more you pushed forward, the more it cost you. Quietly, invisibly. Until it was too late to notice. Your sleep? Fragmented. You close your eyes, but your brain keeps scrolling. Ideas, deadlines, messages, pings. Even your dreams feel like checklists. You wake up more tired than you went to bed. Your body? Jittery, tense. You haven't stretched in weeks. You eat at random times, whatever's fastest. Your hands ache from typing. Your back hurts from sitting. But you don't have time for rest. Your focus? Shattered. You used to get lost in books. Now even reading tweets feels like a task. You open 5 tabs and forget what you needed. You walk into a room and forget why. You try to meditate, but your brain begs for stimulation. You open your phone out of reflex, not desire. Your mind has forgotten how to be still. Even silence feels loud. And then, the people. The friends you don't reply to. The family dinners you cancel. The partner you love who says you're not really there. You nod through conversations but never hear them. Because your brain is somewhere else. Always somewhere else. One day you're sitting in a cafe. Around you, laughter. Clinking cups. Life. But your eyes are on your Trello board. Red tasks, yellow labels. Overdue. Deadlines you created for yourself. Tasks no one asked for. You scroll, you plan. You sip lukewarm coffee. Someone calls your name. You look up, startled. You'd forgotten where you were. You'd forgotten when you were. And maybe the worst part? You thought this was normal. You thought this was winning. You thought, I'm just ambitious. But you've been running so long, you didn't see what fell behind. The slow weekends, the quiet sunsets, the dumb jokes with friends, the feeling of being fully present. You don't remember the last time you felt calm without guilt. You don't remember the last time you laughed without checking the time. You don't remember the last time you were just a person, not a machine. You confused burnout with drive. You masked exhaustion with productivity. And now, the price has come due. You're still chasing success, but you've lost yourself along the way. It didn't happen by choice. You didn't plan it. It wasn't on your calendar. There was no productivity hack, no 5-minute strategy. It was just your body saying no. You woke up one morning, and it wasn't anxiety that filled your chest. It was weight, a heaviness that made even brushing your teeth feel like climbing stairs. No energy, no focus, no desire to check your to-do list. You tried to fight it, opened your laptop, clicked on your planner. But the screen just blurred. Your head throbbed. So for once, you closed it and didn't open it again. You called in sick, the first time in years. No calls, no meetings, no deadlines. Just a blank day. And it terrified you. Because you didn't know who you were without a task. You paced your apartment. You reached for your phone, out of habit. But even that felt tiring. So eventually, you sat near the window. And for the first time in maybe months, maybe years, you just watched. No music, no screen, just the outside world. A breeze moved the trees. The sky shifted slowly from gray to pale blue. A bird landed on the railing and tilted its head at you, like it couldn't believe you were finally looking. Minutes passed. You didn't track them. You forgot to. It felt strange. Wrong almost. You weren't achieving. You weren't building. But it also felt soft. Like your mind was unclenching. Like your heartbeat was remembering how to slow down. Later that day, you walked to the park. No headphones, no phone calls, no inner checklist. Just footsteps and breath. You sat on a bench and let the silence wrap around you. The world kept moving. Kids laughing, leaves rustling, dogs barking. But for once, you didn't feel behind. You weren't racing. You weren't failing. You were just here. You noticed the warmth of the sun on your face. You watched someone sketching. You saw an old couple holding hands without speaking, and you felt something crack open. Something you hadn't felt in a long time. Presence. Not the kind you force in meditation apps. Not the kind that comes with journal prompts and affirmations. Real, effortless stillness. The kind that just is. You didn't solve your life in that moment. You didn't abandon your goals. But for the first time, you realized you don't need to earn every second of your existence. You don't have to fill every minute with progress. Some moments are meant to be lived, not optimized. Some days are meant to be quiet. And in that quiet, you felt it. A small, almost forgotten truth whispering in your chest. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to just be. In a world that can't stop talking, silence is a revolution. Not the performative silence of muted apps or silent retreats you filmed for content. Not the kind you monetize with hashtags. Real silence. The kind that lets you hear yourself again. You begin to notice the shape of time. How it stretches and breathes when you stop strangling it with productivity. How a minute, unmeasured, becomes a little pocket of peace. You don't delete your calendar. You don't throw away your goals. You just stop treating urgency as a moral virtue. You begin to choose slow. You walk, not to get somewhere faster, but just to walk. You eat, not at your desk, but at a table, with both hands free. You look up, not to check the sky, but to actually see it. There's a kind of quiet that fills you from the inside out. You start craving it, not because you're lazy, but because you finally understand how much noise you were drowning in. You stop listening to 10x your results podcasts at 1.5x speed. You stop watching people you don't even like tell you how to be better. You start reading things twice. You take the long way home. You taste things again. You remember that food isn't fuel, it's joy. You notice that a stranger's smile can shift your day, that a moment of eye contact is intimacy. You begin to measure success not by output, but by presence. You realize hustle culture didn't just steal your time. It stole your ability to feel. And as your pace slows, your senses sharpen. You smell the rain before it starts. You hear your own laugh and wonder when it changed. You watch a child playing and feel something inside you soften. You're not wasting time. You're reclaiming it. You're refusing to live like a machine. You're not behind. You're here. And that's enough. The world will keep spinning. Deadlines will pile up. There will always be someone faster, louder, more optimized. But you're learning to breathe again, to be human again. Slow living is not a step back. It's a step inward. Not defeat, rebellion. You spent years chasing time like it owed you something, optimizing it, stretching it, cutting corners to save it, only to realize time was never lost. It was taken by apps that made your worth feel like a metric, by voices that said, you're only as good as your output, by a culture that glorifies exhaustion and mocks stillness. But now, you finally see it for what it is. You don't need to be rich in dollars to feel full. You need to be rich in mornings with no alarms, in afternoons with no guilt, in evenings where you can sit, not scroll, and exist. Because stillness isn't the enemy of progress. It's where you begin to understand what matters. You shut the laptop, not out of failure, but freedom. You silence the phone, not because you're out of reach, but because you're within reach of yourself. You open the balcony door. The air is warm. You feel it on your skin like something you forgot you needed. You step outside, barefoot, unrushed, alive. There's no background music, no narrator in your head saying what's next. Only the soft sound of wind, birds, and your breath. And for the first time in forever, you don't feel behind. You're not racing anyone. You're not falling off. You're not wasting potential. You're here. You're awake. You're okay. The world hasn't ended because you stopped grinding. In fact, you just started living. No more FOMO. No more countdowns. No more, if I don't do it now, I never will. You've been alive this whole time. You just forgot how to feel it. Now, you remember.